Welcome back to another episode of TY FFLY book reviews. I go by Ty.
Yo, what's going on? I'm Mr. Fly.
We got there this month. So this month we've been reading Rethinking Positive Thinking, which is actually a book recommended by Chris this month. It's by Gabriele Oettingen. Oetting. Do you know? I've actually.
I'm not even gonna try.
I was actually speaking to someone about this book earlier today, actually this morning.
Yeah.
And they corrected me with pronouncing her surname, and I still can't get it right. Oettingen. I think it's Oettingen. Anyway, Gabriele Oettingen.
Yeah.
Rethinking Positive Thinking. And that is this month's book review. But before we start, I actually wanted to say this is the 8th book of the year. It was our August book. And when I took on this challenge, I think it was 2 years ago, I set on the challenge, to read one book a month on my own. Yeah. August was the month that let me down. It was summer. I was, engaged in summer activities, enjoying the UK summer when the weather was nice, and I didn't complete my goal of reading one book every month. That year I read more than 12 books, because some months I actually read 2 books because they were shorter, but my goal was to read one book a month, and it was the 8th month that threw me off. But because I got you, Mr. Fly, I got my accountability partner, we're still flying high, 8 in a row, and it's going to be all the way to the end.
Boom. I think even for myself, like, I haven't read this many books in quick succession.
Yeah.
So it's good, man. But yeah, I think, we'll get through this year, then maybe we've got to start doubling it up, man, or something. I don't know, we have to do something.
Yeah, we got to reassess next year. We'll see how we feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rethinking Positive Thinking. How did you find it? How did the start? I mean, I've been excited to talk about it. But like we briefly spoke about off camera, I think it's just the conversation that as well helps the excitement.
yeah, definitely. It's weird because I was excited to read this book, and because of the title was very intriguing. The title intrigues me because positive thinking in itself is quite, I think we've touched on this before, it's not controversial, but it's quite loaded. How effective is it? What impact does it actually have on your mental health? Do you know what I mean? And I think I've seen situations myself where people if they put themselves in that bracket of I'm a positive person, I'm a positive thinker, I'm a positive person, they then don't allow themselves to always accept the realities of what's going on and and how to deal with it. Really, I think it's a process. That's what I think is more. So so I was quite interested to see how this book would tackle that. Hence why, because like I said, I just heard it mentioned on a podcast, and the name itself, I thought, all right, cool. I read the blurb and stuff, quite intriguing. So I had very high expectations of the book. After reading it, I don't love it. I barely like it, if I'm honest with you. Just because of, and there's various reasons. I did like the start of it. I did not like the middle at all. Yeah. The middle was so boring. And I'm trying to now I'm trying to put it in a positive light. The book, because there's definitely some positives within this book, but I just didn't really like the writing style.
I think we might disagree. This might be our first disagreement on this book, so we'll wait to the end and see. Okay. But at the start of the book, I actually didn't really like the start. And the start of the book, it talks about positive situations and when people have been positive, but when it's actually had a negative impact on them. And he references a lot of studies. For example, one of the studies was about women specifically trying to lose weight. And those who had a positive mindset of actually losing weight, they actually lost less weight. But the women who had a negative image of themselves and a negative mindset towards the process lost more weight. And I thought that was quite interesting in that scenario, because you'd like to think, being positive, you'd be more likely to achieve your goals. But in this instance, being positive actually hindered these ladies from losing weight. And I think the pretty much the beginning of the book, it talks about myth busting, you know, that positive thinking isn't always beneficial. What did you think of that?
Yeah, no, I mean, going back, that was something that there was a few examples of that, like you said, the women losing weight. There was German job seekers as well that were going out looking for jobs and whatnot. And I think what was interesting to me was that it was why, as a fact, you know, like why did it stop? Because I guess the common understanding would be that, oh, you know, if you think positive and just think, all you need to do is think positive. This kind of goes into books like The Secret. Like setting intentions and stuff like that. All you need is the thought, sort of thing. But with especially with the German women, it's like they were kind of in the thought process that all I need to do is think about it and visualize it and, you know, imagine myself with lost weight and stuff like that. So what the book actually said was that when they did some blood tests and stuff like that of people that have positive thoughts, and then finds out that when you kind of think positive, your energy levels are depleted a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you might not necessarily, so let's say if you're imagining to go for a run and you visualize yourself, I've just run over the finish line and, you know, I've just done that whole run. I've done my 5K, 10K, 2K, whatever it is. And then your energy levels after that thought process are lower than they were at the beginning. So that was something that was quite interesting to me. And that kind of explains why to some, because you're maybe less motivated to do what I think, because the way I think of positive thinking doesn't necessarily line up with how the book breaks down positive thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's very much like I like to believe I'm a positive thinker, but the thought is just one part of that whole process. Where I think with these people, it was like, you know, people with the losing weight example, they just kind of thought, you know, I can think myself to it. And then any sort of, you know, we'll go into it now because they talk a little bit about mental contrasting, which I actually did like that. I like that part. Like the mental contrasting, basically how they put it is how you think of the obstacles that you're gonna hit on your way to your goal.
Yeah.
Right. So just to
rephrase that term, mental contrasting. So it's looking at your goal and then coming back and looking at yourself in the present moment. So your future goal might be, I want to be a footballer. But then to mental contrast it, you come back and look at yourself now and think, okay, well, do I even play football at the moment? And that process helps you achieve goals, you know, according to the book. So it's kind of the positive thinking itself is, by the book, you know, no good. But then when you add mental contrasting into it, it then starts to help you achieve your goals. Now, I actually did I like that section? It was average. I didn't love it. I didn't love that section. I think it was quite repetitive, actually. I like the concept.
Yeah, agreed.
I like the concept, but I didn't like the way that the author was repeating herself over and over again. But, you know, she gave lots of examples of how that can help someone in their life, you know, looking at themselves in the future, bringing themselves back to where they are now. It helps you analyze where you are. And it actually, I think it was it Annie Duke, our book Annie Duke, where I think I don't know if she called it mental contrasting, but in our she did. She talks about, you know, looking at the top of the hill,
thinking future planning, basically, like going into the future. Yeah.
I can't remember the term she used. I don't know if you can.
No, I don't remember the term, but it's like thinking of the obstacles, you know, and then reverse engineering it from that point.
Yeah.
You know,
it did talk about positive thinking in the short term though, and how beneficial that can be, because I personally think definitely for me, in the short term, positive thinking is amazing for my mental health, I guess. Because say you're faced with adversity, you're faced with a difficult situation, and you think, no, these are the positives of that. This is what I can take out of it. Although you might not be working towards solving the issue at that moment, but you're looking at it in a different way to help you feel less stressed, less anxious, less worried, and improve your mood at that in the moment. And the book actually talks about, you know, how positive thinking in the short term can actually really be beneficial to our mood. And it actually gives an example of a lady whose partner is a law-abiding citizen. He runs into some financial difficulties, and then he starts selling weed or marijuana, and he gets caught and he's going to jail. I don't know why I'm laughing. But the girl in that moment was really stressed, but then she started thinking positively about the situation. I can't actually remember what positive thoughts she had, but it changed her whole concept and her whole mindset towards that situation.
I don't know. I think you hit the nail on the head. This is why I don't like the book, because of the repetitiveness. You know.
Yeah.
So with this book, and this is even because there's I don't want to jump too far ahead because we're still in the middle. But you know the final.
Yeah,
let's call it the final part. Yeah, we'll go.
No, let's just drop it now, because there's a concept called WOOP.
WOOP, yeah. WOOP.
But we're gonna come.
1 minute before you go there. Yeah, before you go there, again with the repetitiveness of the mental contrasting, there was a lot of repetitiveness of the WOOP as well, or WOOP. So I just feel like this book, it was a short book anyway, but I feel like it could have been shorter. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like, you know, when you take out, there's the mental contrasting, there's the WOOP, and then there's also
there's a stage before the WOOP. So
exactly. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, in the middle. Yeah, then there's positive. I think it's the one I took was
implementation intentions.
There you go. So I feel like those 3 pointers didn't require 188 pages. Do you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of the pages I feel are like, oh, there was this study, there was that study, there was this study, there was this study. It just got quite boring and repetitive for me. And I was like, I mean, I do like, everyone likes a bit of data to back up what you're saying and X, Y, Z, but I feel like I just didn't enjoy it, man. I mean, and but those messages, I do like those messages, but the style of it, man, was just boring.
It's interesting because if we think about back to our book of, you know, Gary V, where he talks about the different examples, he gave loads of examples, but you loved it in that sense. But in this book, you didn't enjoy it, and
I'll tell you why. So I'll tell you why.
Yeah, because
these were real life examples of real life people. So are these, but this was like one example of one person who can relate to that one person. Like, you know, Gary Vee, like John from Arkansas or wherever in America done this, and do you know what I'm saying? Whereas this would be like, oh, we did a study of 182 students, and out of those students, we were trying to measure their this, and we did this and all this, and it's just that was just boring.
It was a bit
like one's okay. But when you're hitting me with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's just boring.
I think some of the studies were, I mean, if you're someone that likes detail, then you would love that concept. You would actually love it, because she actually goes into a lot of detail with each study, but she doesn't. It actually gets a bit confusing at times with how much detail there is, because it's like, we did one test group that did this, we did another test group, then this, and test group A also did, we split test group A up, they also did this and this.
It's like, obviously she's a scientist or she's a psychologist or whatever. So maybe it's not targeted to someone like myself. I mean, I do like a bit of data, a bit of information, but I feel like just overdid it, man. And then it just feels like filler. Yeah. That's what I was just thinking. I was like, right, is this just filler then? Because the concept's quite simple, and I agree with those concepts, all 3 of them, we just went through. But it's like, well, maybe not so much the WOOP. Well, no, I do again, but it's like it didn't need this many pages. I just feel like it's filled up, man.
I'm excited to get to the WOOP. I can't lie, I'm excited to get to the WOOP. I'm excited to discuss it, but we're gonna hold on for that for a moment before we get there, because like I said, there was the implementation intentions. I'm just looking at my notes here.
While you're looking for those notes, I just want to quickly go back a little bit more. So when she was talking about people being less energized or less likely to achieve their goals because they're just kind of imagining, or they're just thinking, there's different reasons why you're doing that. Now, one of those reasons is you're not really thinking of what it really takes. So you're just thinking, oh, you know, I want to run a marathon. Oh, that's easy. I'll just go out there and run and just try really hard. Do you know what I mean? But you need to think about, again, reverse engineer it, or think about, okay, what time am I going to try and get? How many runs do I need to do? There's a lot of steps between you deciding you're going to run a marathon and you running the marathon. Okay, but then also, and I'm not sure if I spoke about this before, but there's where the podcast which I actually listened to about which recommended this book, they spoke about when you're imagining things and when you're kind of thinking of the positive outcomes and positive thinking and the effects of it. And part of that is in the way your brain works. Your brain doesn't necessarily know the difference between an imagined reality and the real reality. So that's one of the reasons also why if you kind of think, oh, I'm going to lose 100 pounds, and then you imagine losing 100 pounds, your brain can't really correlate between what's the reality and what's not. So part of you is thinking you've already done it, and which then goes against you trying to achieve it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So that's why the mental contrasting is good, because then you're thinking of the different challenges. You've got to think about what might happen to get in your way. You might not have the willpower, you might not have the right things around you, or you might, whatever the situation might be. So that's why positive thinking alone isn't enough, and that's why the mental contrasting is something that you do need. But yeah, so that's wanted to kind of get that across.
So the mental contrasting is one stage, and that is, like I said, looking into the future of the goal that you want to achieve. You want to achieve your marathon or whatever, and then coming back and looking at your present, and that's the mental contrasting. But the implementation intentions is sort of the next stage. So it's kind of how you overcome obstacles. It's like planning for a situation. If X happens, then I will do Y. So training for a marathon. Okay, if I want to achieve this marathon, I will run 3 times a week and follow a training program. So you're not just using the mental contrasting, you're actually implementing some kind of plan.
One thing quickly, the X is like an obstacle. So let's say, all right, if I run, here's a perfect example. I'm gonna plug Loving Life as well, yeah. If I'm training for a marathon and I get a muscle strain or I get an injury, I will go and see Tyler at Loving Life. So the injury is the X and Loving Life is the Y in that situation. Does that make sense? So sorry, carry on. So it's the combination of the two. So you've got the mental contrasting to find out the situation, and then the implementation intentions of how you're actually going to implement that goal. So I mean, we can look at this even in 3 stages. The positive thinking, all right, cool, this is what I want to achieve. I'm going to run a marathon. But that alone isn't going to help you run the marathon. Then you've got the mental contrasting, looking at yourself, running a marathon. Okay, where am I now? Oh, I'm really unfit. I'm not healthy. Cool. Then you've got the implementation intentions. All right, cool. My obstacles are I'm actually unfit. I actually like to eat too much. Working late purposefully stops me going for a run. So you've identified your obstacles. You say, all right, cool. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm not going to work late and I'm going to go for a run or whatever. So I thought, the process of that is actually amazing. The process of that is actually amazing. And I think that kind of brings us onto WOOP. Because can I just say,
go on.
That was good. That was good, because it's I'm realizing as we're discussing this book here, it's quite complicated. I feel like it's quite, and this is the thing where if someone's explaining this book to me, I'm not even going to fully understand it because there's so much around it. So it's quite complicated, but that was really concise. So
I like that. Appreciate it. Supporting the thing. Oh yeah, actually that's what I wanted to do as well. A quick pause. Because in the description box, there is a link to Mr. Fly's non-for-profit organization. I'm not going to bore you with too much details, but just check it out. Support the thing. You can donate. He does amazing things helping the community in West London. So yeah, just check that out. There's always the link there in all the book reviews. We never plug it. So this is the first, we haven't plugged it for months, but anyway,
that's cool.
I just wanted to mention that. And before we come on to the WOOP, listen, let me just compose myself. Actually, before I even talk about it, I can't remember, months ago, one of my business associates actually sent me the concept of WOOP, and it was actually Gabriele Oettingen Oettingen, got it right. Who
Okay.
is actually who this business associate actually told me that she's actually a princess of some sort. I haven't
wow.
fact checked this, so don't hold me to it. But they told me it. And when I watched her video describing WOOP, I nearly fell asleep. Like
See?
it didn't grab me.
Okay.
No, it like honestly, I didn't
That
really
is not what I
use
thought
it.
I was gonna say. That is the total opposite of what
No,
I thought.
I didn't use it. Like I just thought, oh, this okay, cool, yeah, makes sense. All right, cool, move on. Now I've read it in the book. This is life changing.
Wow.
Life changing, because you can use it for everything. Now I appreciate I haven't actually explained what WOOP actually is yet. So WOOP brings mental contrasting and implementation intentions together, but in a set structure.
Yeah.
So we've got our wish, which is W.
Yeah.
We've got our outcome, which is where we want to be, the outcome that we'll get from our wish. Then we've got any obstacles that we may face along the way. And then we've got our plan. What are we going to do? If X happens, then we must do Y. That is life changing. And I actually want to give you an example of the past. I've actually used this and I didn't even realize. I didn't realize. Anyway, those that know me personally know that I love biscuits. That's my that's my craving. I love biscuits, and it was getting out of hand at a point. It was getting out of hand. I eat a whole packet of biscuits. I was starting to put on a bit of weight around my belly. I don't like having a big belly, and I thought, how am I going to stop this? So my wish is to lose a bit of belly fat.
Yeah.
My outcome is, if I lose a bit of belly fat, I will feel better about myself. I'll feel healthier. I'll feel better about myself. I'll look good. My obstacles is that I love biscuits, and I love biscuits. I love tea and biscuits, typical British. So what's my plan? My plan is, when I go to Tesco and I see that it's on offer for £1, I'm going to remind myself of my goal and not buy it. If I don't have biscuits in my house, I can't eat them. If there's no biscuits in my house, I can't eat them. When they're there, and maybe I've had a long day and I'm tired and I want something to, something to like make me drown my sorrows or whatever. Not drown my sorrows.
No, well, it's the sugar rush.
If it's not in my house, I can't eat it. And when I actually read the book WOOP, it was like, wow, I've used that whole process when it came to my biscuit addiction. And we can use this WOOP analogy for everything. And I don't know if you've actually thought about it on a deeper level and actually put pen to paper and actually gone through the structure. But if you haven't yet, do it, because this was another thing. Anyway, let me let you talk.
I want to hear what you're gonna say.
The next thing. So yesterday, I managed to sort out some of my finances. So I've been meaning to sort out some of my finances for like a year, to be honest. There's a thing called Vanguard, which is like stocks and share ISAs, basically like investment. And I watched a video a year ago with a business mentor explaining about it and the benefits of it. I said I was going to do it. I never did it. You've told me about it. I said I was going to do it. I've never done it. It was kind of flippant when I said I was going to do it. And I used WOOP. I used WOOP yesterday. And it even got to a point when I was trying to do it, it got frustrating at times. I found it, I had to call them up. I couldn't find the stocks and share ISA that I wanted to invest in. It got a bit complicated. But the fact that I used the WOOP, the wish is to, start using my money smartly and making some investments. The outcome is I'll have a better future if my finances are in order. My obstacles are, I just need to set it up I'm being lazy. Laziness is my obstacle. And my plan is, right, tomorrow I'm going to dedicate my whole morning to getting this sorted. And I sorted it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've used that concept now in everyday life. Yesterday, it's taken me a year to do that. But now that I've implemented WOOP and I've actually broke it down into a structure, it's been like, yo, okay, what is next?
Yeah. Like, you know what, T? I think, you know what, yeah, and I knew this was gonna happen. I thought, because we didn't speak about this book at all.
Not one
and
word.
Not even, I didn't even ask, oh, have you finished? Have you done, like, how are you finding the book? Normally we have a little, like, we don't talk about it, but we kind of
just have a little bit. Where are you? Like, what bit are you up to?
But in my mind, I always thought that you were the one that instigates it, yeah. But then now, knowing that, because I wasn't enjoying this book, and I thought, I'm not gonna ask, because I was thinking, I'm not asking because if T hasn't asked me, he doesn't like this book either. And I was even saying this to my fiance, and I was like, nah, this book, man, ain't the one. I can tell T's not even talking about it. Like, T's not even mentioning it. So that was quite funny. But I say that to say that hearing the way you just described the WOOP or WOOP has actually just made me think, you know what, actually, what's happened with me personally is the book lost me. The book lost me. The writing style, like it just lost me. It lost me because but again, those three concepts, I didn't even make a lot of notes. Normally I make a lot more notes, but I haven't even made a lot of notes from this book. You can't see, but anyway, not a lot, yeah. Because there was so much, again, I said already, filler. So the notes that I did make was obviously the mental contrasting, the implementation intentions, which I like. Yeah. And then also the WOOP, which I was like, but by then I was just trying to finish the book. I was just trying to get through it. And again, because of the repetitiveness, this person done it and that and that and that and that and that, it just kind of like, I was just trying to get through it. When I was literally like, you know what, that page didn't even fully go in, but I'm just turning pages. I just want to turn pages. But that being said, when I kind of look at myself and I think, again, the definition of how this book describes positive thinking, and I think now this is showing me that people, when they say positive thinking, they think that's it. Well, I can't say they, but I feel like there are people out there that think like, oh, you know, I want to do this, so therefore that's all I need to do is, you know, they read The Secret, and it's like, you know, I put it out there, the universe and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not discounting that, but one thing I do know for certain is it takes way more than anything significant you want to do. You need more than a thought. You can have as many vision boards as you like. It doesn't matter. You need to do something about it. And that actually starts in the mind, because it starts with the mental contrasting, you know, looking at it, reverse engineering it. It looks with, again, you need a plan. Like, you need the implementation intentions. You know, you need to know, like, oh, I want to achieve this. If this happens, I'm going to do that. You're a businessman. Do you know what I mean? Even with whatever you're trying to do, whether you're trying to lose weight, whether you're trying to get on better with your partner, So these things are important. And even with the WOOP, it's like, that again is a good process. If it's a good process for someone to use. But I feel like for me with the book, it lost me by the last chapter. I was just literally just trying to get through it. Yeah. Literally.
I mean, I want to agree with you to an extent, because the first half of the book, I didn't really enjoy. Like, I was rating it low. I'm not gonna go into our ratings yet. I was rating it low. Maybe even the first 2/3 of the book. But the last third, for me, the whole when it whole brought it together and put it all into the WOOP, it was like, okay, this now is fitting into a structure. It's like when you watch a movie and you're like, where's this movie going? I'm not really feeling it. Where is it going? And then at the end, it's like, boom. You know, oh wow, that's what it's all built up to. It's like, that's how I felt about the book. It ended with a bang. That concept of WOOP, I mean, I want to give a couple more examples from the book as well with the concept of WOOP, because like I said, we can use it in all situations, everyday living, life. And it talked about using WOOP for children. And I thought that was amazing. You know, if they can teach this stuff in schools. And there was a girl, she wasn't doing her homework or something like that. And they wanted her to get her to do her homework. And they asked her what her wish was. And her wish was to be a ballet dancer. Why do you want to do that? Because what was the outcome? I can't remember the outcome. She wanted to do it because if she does it, she can go on TV or whatever. Okay, what is your obstacle? I'm not going to get good grades because I don't do my homework. So her obstacle that the child worked out for herself was that if she doesn't do her homework, she's not going to get good grades. So now the plan was, okay, so if you want to be a dancer and you feel that the lack of doing the homework is preventing you from being a dancer, then the plan is, if I want to be a dancer, then I need to do my homework. And then the girl started doing her homework. And I thought, wow, you've just flipped that on her head. Flipped that on his head. And it's like, now we've rephrased the whole purpose of why she's doing her homework. Like,
now because it's like that, what's in it for me? Sort of thing. You know what I mean? So for that girl, or for anyone, it's like, what's the point? You know, if you say, it could be any reason, it could be, go to bed early. Why? What's the point? But if you say, look, you want to wake up on time tomorrow, so you've got energy and da-da-da-da-da. Now, okay, I'm going to bed early for this particular reason. Or even like you said before with your investments, save money. Why? What's the point? Save money for this is what, okay, there's a reason now. It's not just a general, it's got to be specific to the individual.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what it is. But no, I mean, it's a good concept. It's a good concept. I don't know if I feel like with these things, I feel like it maybe as well why I didn't necessarily like fall in love with it is because I think it lines up already with my nature of thought. And that's what I think it is. I was kind of thinking I would learn maybe a bit more from this book. And I was thinking that it would be a bit more philosophical as well. A little bit more like less so much data driven and a bit more just questioning. You know what? Yeah, the end of the book though, the last chapter, not even the last sentence was like, this was the best part of the book for me. The last, you know the book.
Two questions. It was two questions.
Yeah, the two questions. Yeah. And it was like, I'll end with two vital questions that I hope you never stop asking yourself. What is your dearest wish? What holds you back from achieving it? That's it. That's the book for me. And it's like, that I was like, you know what? That's big. So that was for me, that was the best part of the book. Because it's like, it's true. What's your dearest wish? And what's holding you back? And then that's how you get from point A to point B. So I feel like the book, I don't know, man, it didn't move me. That last bit did move me though. But I think if it was a bit more on that tone, then I would have definitely bought into the book a little bit more. But that's just me.
See, I think that those questions, I feel like there needs to be another question on top of that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like what are you going to do about it?
I knew he was going to say that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, that's where the WOOP, the P, the planning comes in. Because it's like, what is your dearest wish? I mean, what is the second question?
What are you going to do about it? No, that's your question.
Yeah.
Oh, let me find it 1 second. What is your dearest wish? What holds you back from achieving it?
Yeah, what holds you back? Yeah. So now you've identified what holds you back, but it's not saying what are you going to do about it. And for me, that's where the WOOP comes in, the plan. What are you going to do about it? We need that additional question to fulfill it, because that's not encouraging me to take action. It's just making me think, okay, this is my wish. This is where I want to be. Okay, I've got these obstacles. Okay. Oh yeah, that's how. But it's not fully diving in.
I think it goes into your mindset, because the natural, because you when you said, there's a third question, I kind of thought in my mind, I think I know what the question is going to be. And obviously that's if you've just read this book, it's right at the end of the book. So if you just read it by right, that should be the natural progression. So maybe the author's done that to trigger that third point, to trigger that kind of moment, because you're not going to, after reading this book, if you've taken on board what it says, you're not going to read that and then not incorporate the WOOP into that, or mental contrast. I mean, unless I don't see how you would do that. Do you know what I mean? But maybe again, she needs to hold their hand a little bit more and be like, okay, question 3. But you know,
there was another study that I found interesting. See, I like the WOOP studies. I love them. The mental contrasting study, the limited. implementation intention studies, they lost me a bit. But the WOOP studies were, for me, they were exciting, because there was even another example talking about relationships, and it was about jealous partners, and they used WOOP to help them feel less jealous. So it was kind of like, what is my wish to not be less jealous? What is the outcome of that? To be less jealous.
Yeah.
The outcome of that is going to improve my relationship. What are the obstacles of that? I'm insecure inside. What is the plan? Every time I feel jealous, I'm not going to call my partner. I'm going to go and cook instead. Or I'm going to do this. And what they found from this study, when they implemented WOOP to those jealous partners, they were less jealous at the end of the study because they had implemented WOOP. And I thought, wow. I love the concept purely because it's so transferable to so many different things. I feel so transferable.
No, I agree. And I feel like, and as yours, I mean, let me ask you this. We're in our 8th month now.
Yeah.
And every month, it's like you're picking up like an infinity stone or something. You're picking up something that you're going to take with you and be like, yeah, cool, this is going to be a staple, you know, or every book, every other book, you're kind of thinking, you know what, this is going to stick with me. This is going to stick with me. You know, I think the most profound thing that out of all these books that's kind of stuck with me is the resulting, or finding, knowing about. Because you know me. I know you know I was going to say that. But is the resulting thing, right? I'm not going to say, if you don't know what it is, go and watch the video. But with this one, I feel like this is because I can tell how much you this is resonating with you. So if that's the case, you know, you got to hold it, man, and you got to tell people about it, and you got to keep implementing it.
100%. This for me saved the book. This for me saved the book. Basically. And I think from each book, you know, regardless of if we like it or if we don't like it, there's always something positive to take, or something that we can take from each book, whether it's you know, something that we don't want to use or something that we do want to use or whatever. And yeah, man, I love that. Do you think that you could use this in any of your current situations?
When you say this, do you mean the WOOP?
The WOOP.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's a process. It's a thought process, and it's a strategy. Sorry, that's a better way of saying it. It's a strategy. So definitely, yeah. But the way I'll say with strategies, and that's not discounting anything in there or from the WOOP or whatever, but let's say there's different ways to skin a cat. There's different ways. So if I've got my goal or something and I want to achieve, if I want to climb up a mountain, Mount Everest, I might go over, you know, you might go up that side. But obviously I don't know nothing about mountain climbing yet. But then someone else might say, no, go up that side. We could both be right. Do you know what I mean? But definitely. I feel like I'm actually going to give this chapter another go. Just that chapter alone, or that part of it, because I think like I was just so done with the book by the time I got there. It never got me back. It never got me back like it got. Again, I only made a small amount of notes, and that was definitely something. But again, and even I feel like you liked the constant proofing it was given, the examples with WOOP. Okay, but I think that's because you like the concept then. But really, because you like the concept. But really, that just the same way it was like with the mental contrasting. Oh, and they did mental contrasting and oh, they were trying to fly, and then all of a sudden they did mental. It's like you're trying too hard. You get me? Do you know what I'm saying? You know, that's what I'm saying. It was I don't know. It's just the tone of the book, and I think as well. My expectations. I was really expecting some deep, thought, I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't what I got. Put it that way. I think as well. I was feeling like more, you know, thinking like more philosophical, less data driven. That's the best I could put it.
I think as well, because you do some of these things, you know, in your own way, maybe not in a necessarily structured way. You do think about your goals. You do think about how you're going to get there. You do think about, okay, what do I need to do? Like you are always thinking like that. So it's like you didn't necessarily, I guess, not to say you didn't learn anything new from the book, because I mean, we did learn something new, but what the book tells us are kind of things that we kind of already knew, but it's just providing it in a nice formatted structure that makes it easier for you to use throughout your life. All right. Before we move on to the star rating, do you want to add anything on that?
No, just one last thing. Yeah, like, because it's a conversation. I've had this conversation prior with my fiance and one of my good friends as well, and about learning basically. And it's like, you know, whether you're watching a video on YouTube or whether you're reading a book, and in this situation we're reading books, and it's like, I'll never, even if I did or didn't like the book, it does one of a few things. It's like, either I learned something new, when it's like, I learned, wow, like that just blew my mind. Like, oh my gosh, I never thought about it like that, X, Y, Z. Or it reaffirms what I already know.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a positive outcome.
Yeah.
So even like this, when I'm reading this, I was happy to get to the end of it. I'm not gonna lie, but I was like, you know what? This shows that, you know, my mind's in the right space, my head's in the right place. So, you know, and then books that we've learned before, but it's like, oh my gosh, that just blew my mind. So you're never, when you're seeking knowledge and when you're learning, you're never at a loss, because you either learn, which is great, because now you know more than you knew before, or you reaffirm what you already know, which again is like, you know what, cool, I know stuff. So that's kind of my approach to learning, and that's my approach. That's why with these books, it's like, you know, I enjoy it, because like, you know, it's going to do one. Either way, it's a positive. It's a win-win.
Yeah. No, 100% agree. All right, let's go. I can't remember if we do star or difficulty first, but let's just go difficulty first.
Star. It doesn't matter.
All right, yeah. Difficulty rating. How difficult was this book to read? I think you went first last time, actually.
Yes, I did.
So I'll go first this time. Difficult. It wasn't a difficult read, but at times it was a bit complicated because of how many tangents she went off on when she gave her examples, particularly in the first half of the book. But I still want to give it like I think a two. I'm going to do a Chris. I'm going to do a Mr. Fly today. I'm going to give the difficulty a 2.25 today.
Wow. Okay.
2.25. Because it wasn't difficult. It wasn't difficult to read, but at the beginning, just how she went off on tangents, it just made it a bit awkward. Yeah. What's your difficulty rating?
The difficulty rating, I've got to be honest, man. I've got to give this a strong 4, man. It was like, and not in the sense of, I mean, if it was a bit difficult in the sense of, because they talk about all these studies and test samples and all this kind of stuff, sample sizes and all that kind of stuff. But again, the writing style, I just, you know, I found it hard to read, and it's the shortest book besides The Alchemist. It's the shortest book, and I had to really. I went about 2 weeks of not reading it. No, about 9 days, 10 days maybe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of not. And then I just got to a point where I was like, right, I've got to be knocking out 20 pages a day, 30 pages a day, because otherwise I had to force myself to finish it. Otherwise I wouldn't have finished it if you kept. But anyway, 4. I'll give it a 4, man. Strong 4.
A 4. Okay. Yeah. All right, and a star rating. Okay, this is the crunch time. Do you know, when I was reading it, I was trying to justify it at the beginning. I was thinking, it was, as I was reading it, I started off with like a 1.5 or 2. It was about a 2. I started off with a 2, and I was thinking, like, please don't be a 2. That concept, when it gave me the WOOP and it put the mental contrast in and the implementation intentions in 1, for me, that brought it up to a 3.5, like 3.5 is what I'm giving the book, because that whole concept for me, just like resulted for you, that whole concept for me, life-changing. Yeah. Go on. Okay. So what about you? Star rating?
Boy, star rating. And I was interested to see, I was saying this, anyway, I was interested to see where you were. I didn't think, it's good though, because I was thinking like, me and Tyler think too similar. Like we think the same too much. Like he doesn't like this book, I can tell, because he hasn't said nothing about it. I'm thinking, I'm like, wow. But obviously now we've had this conversation, it's different. But before this conversation, I was on a 1. I was because it's a book where and I'll be honest, yeah, I wouldn't recommend someone to read it. I might recommend them to read that last chapter. This after speaking to you now, and then I would tell them about it and be like, Ray, these are the 3 points that I think are solid, but the rest of it, I feel like this book could have been done in 100 pages or less. After speaking to you, it's a 1.75. When you put on that set point, because I can't. Yeah, that's my answer, man. That's my answer. That's my rating, 1.75. So even I won't say that, but yeah, 1.75.
Yeah, what were you going to say? You were going to give it lower?
No. I was going to say something, but about future something. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. So this is the first time we've had, what is that? 1.75, 3.5. That is 1.75 gap. That's quite a big gap. Normally we're about 0.5 out of each other. Yeah. I think this is our biggest gap in a book. Yeah. Okay, good. We finally disagreed on something. Wicked. So next month's book is where did I put it? He's got it. Jay Shetty, Think Like a Month. This is the book we are reading. You as an audience are keeping us accountable. It's actually 287 pages. I checked earlier. It's quite a long one, but I'm actually
282.
282.
The conclusion finishes on 282. I mean, appendix. Do you read the appendix?
Yeah. Depends, innit? Depends.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
right,
282. Yeah. And actually, Jay Shetty, I don't actually know too much about him, but I know he's got his own YouTube channel as well. And actually, a good friend of ours, Sadia. If you haven't seen it already, Sadia is actually in my Inspire and Be Inspired.
Big interview, by the way. Big interview.
Say that again.
Very big interview. Very good interview.
So yeah, check that out. But Sadia actually loves Jay Shetty, and she's actually the person who initially bought me the book. So big up, Sadia. I'm looking forward to reviewing it. And yeah, I hope everyone supports the thing. And that's it for the book review today. Remember, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And peace and love.
Salute. Big up, guys. Thanks for watching.